Alrighty, I think we are live now.
Coming, I'm just check. Yep, you're live, you're live.
Alright, guys, sorry about the delay there. Just obviously, I'm not in Australia at the moment, and I'm not on the usual computer which I'm using for streaming, and so obviously, I didn't have everything set up like I would normally have set up. So yeah, we're gonna probably have a little bit of teething problems with this one, but just we'll try and go through it as well as possible. So welcome back to Talking Turismo. We're at episode 6, and excited to be joined here today once again by Danny. So how's it going, Danny?
Yeah, pretty good. Hello to the stream as well. Hi.
Alrighty, so we got Jester saying, "What a head!" Thanks, Jester. Long time no chat with Jester, obviously, and yeah, everyone else who's joining us today, say hi so we know who we have. Unfortunately, James seems to be running a little bit late. I'm not sure where he is. He is going to join us, so hopefully he will jump in just a sec. But if anyone else wants to also jump in with us, we'd be happy to have you, because obviously we want to have a good debate here today. And I think, yeah, it's just kind of the more people. Danny is way louder than me. Okay, let me see.
Oh, really?
Let me see if, I mean,
Yeah.
my microphone is set to maximum, so I'm not really sure how I can change that. Sorry, guys.
You can right click my name in the Discord and then you can reduce my volume.
Yeah, okay, let me try.
Use the volume.
Yep, okay. So I'll just put you down to a little bit less. Lower the Danny.
Yep. Am I okay now?
Is it okay now, Jester? Oh, and you're also getting an echo from Danny. Okay, fuck. I don't really know how I can fix that other than going and getting my headphones. 1 second. I'll go get my AirPods and we'll see if that helps. Hey, what's up, Wogopolis? Yeah, hopefully you guys can still hear me now that I've switched over to the AirPods. If you can just give me a quick heads up in the chat whether you can hear me or not. And actually, funnily enough, I'm not sure if I can hear Danny now. Can you say something, Danny?
Yep. Can you hear me?
For fuck's sake. Okay, so now you're coming through on my computer still, not through my AirPods. Alright, I don't think there's anything I can do to really fix this, so if there's an echo, I am sorry, guys. We'll just have to live with it for now. Hey, Yoga, what's up? Yoga, if you want to join us, you can jump in on the Discord chat. Just pop in, and we'll get things started. So, yeah, on today's episode, I guess we'll just go for a little bit of a World Series Showdown recap. And then we'll talk a little bit about how Season 2 is underway, and also, maybe just to begin with, we can talk about the August content update, which Kaz teased just the other day. So we have these 3 cars in the background now. I actually haven't followed much of the discussion behind this, Danny, so maybe you have. I think this is the McLaren MP4, the famous 1988, I think it is, World Championship winning McLaren, one of the most successful Formula 1 cars of all time. What are the other 2? Do you know? Or does anyone in the chat know?
Give me a second. I know there's this guy called Nankai. He usually gets all the futuristic data because he's a very experienced programmer and modder in the Gran Turismo community, so he knows. So based on his tweets from yesterday, the other 2 cars are the Pontiac GTO Judge 69 and the Porsche Cayman GT4.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's
this looks
another
like a
Cayman
Porsche.
GT4. Group 4, yeah.
Oh, a Group 4 Porsche.
Yeah.
Okay, well
A
that should
potential
be
Group
interesting.
4.
Okay. And as far as I know, for Nations Cup, we have 2 rounds which haven't been announced, which car and track combo, right?
Yes.
So probably at least one of them is going to be, I would say, either the Porsche or the F1 car. Although it'd be weird because I think the next round is one which hasn't been released. Let me just bring up the schedule quickly.
Allegedly, it's the Porsche Cayman road car.
Porsche Cayman road car. Okay, thanks, Jay. So that's Jay's voice who is just joining us there. So if we take a look at the schedule for Nations Cup, so yeah, after this round, we have a blank round and then also a blank round in round 6. Now, it would be unusual that we would do the Super Formulas followed immediately by a Formula 1 car, so probably not going to be the Formula 1 car for round 4 would be my guess. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, I bet that car will be close to about more than 5 million. So, my bet is they won't use it for round 4, but it's probably going to be a car for round 6.
I was going to say, I think they might have planned for the new track to be one of the rounds if they're still planning on bringing a track.
Yeah, what's everyone's guess with that? I mean, Apricot Hill was the one that was shown off in the teaser trailers with the squiggly outlines. And I think everyone thought it was going to be Apricot Hill last time around, and then it was Watkins Glen out of fucking nowhere.
Yep, the biggest swerve in Gran Turismo since St. Bloody Crocs when we looked like we were going to get Grand Valley.
I think it's St. Croix, but yeah. Oh yeah, St. Croix, what a fucking garbage track. And we have to do that later this year as well.
Well, I would like to counter that. Yes, maybe St. might be a bit weird. You know, it's like a good rhythm there, but I think a lot of guys like B and C forward, of course, because it does have a decent flow and some technical sections as well. But I think why a lot of people don't like Synchronous as a whole and all the layouts is because it's probably too wide. And
Yeah, agreed.
as you can see, Synchronous C31, saw walls and looks like some people might exploit the wall bit, which we will talk about later. But yeah, there's also another issue.
Yeah, I saw the video you're talking about. Like Hami-chan posted it, right? So basically, over the next several rounds, there's a potential exploit on every single track. But let's not bury the lead with that because we will come back to that later. So for now, I just want to move on to the World Series Showdown results. So if you guys might remember at the end of the last episode that we did a Manu winners pick draft between myself, James, Jay, and the chat. And so basically we went through and chose which manufacturers we thought might win the Manu Cup, and as it was, I ended up winning by choosing Subaru. I mean, big surprise there with Subaru winning. But I guess the surprise was that they won without Miyazono, because of course Miyazono had the positive COVID test. So actually, I mean, it's good that we have you here, Jay, to be able to talk about that. So maybe do you want to, if you don't want to, go ahead and say you don't want to, maybe you just want to put this all behind you. But yeah.
I'm willing to talk about the showdown. Yay, 0 points for me in this prediction result.
Yeah, well, you picked Porsche, who also came dead last because of their wheel issue or whatever. What actually happened with that? So what, the TGT that they were using just shit the bed?
Yeah, it just straight up broke, and I didn't notice at the time because it was during my stint. All I was told is a slow car on track. Or actually, when I was told is crash ahead, I was like, I can't see a crash ahead. And it was only a couple of laps later that I saw the Porsche trundling about.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, like, why didn't they just quit out of the race entirely? Because it seemed like he went into the pits and then came out after like 1,000 seconds and then went back into the pits, and it was a little bit strange, especially seeing the graphics up there with just sitting in the pit lane, like the timer counting up. I thought that they would have like quit out of the race, but maybe the organizers were worried that if they quit out, the whole fucking game would crash or something.
Yeah, it might not have even been that. It was just maybe more a case of, well, Ted, if they actually quit, that's against the rules. So let's have them stay in the pits so they don't technically quit.
Okay. But nonetheless, it was a pretty exciting race. I think the format with the driver swaps and the very long race, it worked really well, especially for the broadcast. And obviously, we need to give recognition to what a great job that Killian did, even though I think the Subaru BRZ was probably the meta car because of how good it is on the tire wear. Killian performed like very well, especially having to do double stenting.
Yes, and qualifying too. Subaru should not have been that far up the grid, but they were.
Mm-hmm.
Because the car's not fast over one lap, it's just fast over a race stint.
Yeah. How was the qualifying, like, who did the qualifying slot? How was that decided?
Each team just picked a driver, and we did one lap each in that semi-shootout format.
Mm-hmm.
Half the field went, and then the other field went. The half went. The order of who would go out first was based on our seed, which was based on the manufacturer results from season 1.
Yep. Yeah, and then of course, second place was Mercedes, which is who picked Mercedes? That was James's second pick. Obviously, I thought that Mercedes, like if Subaru wasn't going to have Miyazano, I thought that Mercedes would get the win. So yeah, it was surprising that they weren't able to come through on the day, but I guess just the BRZ's advantage on tires was too much in the end.
I think Mercedes may need a slight nerf because they were well ahead in the private TT, and a lot of the cars that were challenging them got nerfed anyway. So hence the 3.5 tenths pole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That was a big pole. So just quickly checking in with the chat. So Pedro Silva, what's up? We've got Kevin here. Jokin is saying that he believes that the brake balance might be coming back with the next update. That would be good. Lounsey checking in, and also Sheena and Kneecap. So thanks for joining us all, guys. I guess not really too much more to say about the Manu. Danny, do you have any thoughts about it?
Thoughts about Manu. Yeah, I'd like to add that Subaru performed extremely well. Their car of choice being the BRZ, and knowing that it was a medium-ish tire wear race, but again, it was a 48 lap race, so it was like slightly more than 90 minutes. And by choosing the BRZ, Subaru already had the tire wear advantage, so they could run longer stints. And combining with Danny Solis and Killian's immense talent with the Subaru, I saw that they pulled off a pretty amazing win. And the battle for the podium between Toyota and Mazda was also pretty good to watch. Yeah, I think it was an all-round good race from everyone. Very unfortunate for Porsche. They were one of the underdogs for this round, but that TGP will issue forced them to retire from the race. Very unfortunate, but I hope they can redeem themselves come Monaco. And once they have probably a new lineup, considering Takuma Sasaki, more commonly known as Kakuan, will most probably qualify for Porsche alongside Josetti and Ines Rosa. Then I think Porsche should be amongst the competitors to win or get a podium in the World Series finale in Monaco.
Yeah, I think not to really take anything away from Konzio, I think he would have struggled for pace given that he was kind of a sub in qualifier and he's just not quite at the level of the other guys that were there. But it seems like Oceania drivers just had a little bit of a curse with this event, because we'll show also with what happened in I guess Nations as well. Yeah, basically both of the Oceania drivers for Manu finished in the last two positions. Obviously, Jay, you being the other one with your struggles with the wheel. And then if we kind of take a look at the Nations results, we see obviously McEwen dead last as well.
Before we move on to that entirely, I did want to point out a couple of things about the format for Manu that may not have been clear. Couldn't choose the car. We were assigned a car by Follow Digital. We also couldn't really choose to go run an alternate strategy. The 3-stop strategy came up because the way it was originally worded, you could, in theory, do 10 laps on softs, pit, and then do another 10 laps on softs. But they're like, no, can't do that. Every stint has to be at least 14 laps. But then we're like, okay, well, what if we do a 6-lap stint on softs at the end? And they're like, nope, 2 pit stops only. And on top of everything, after the red flag, we did not have the option to change our strategy, even though the commentary was going on about, oh, maybe some teams will change strategy. And like, nope, you're locked in now.
Yeah, right.
So PD can be really strict when it comes to strategies, at least in the manufacturer's side.
Yeah, I guess with that, they just wanted it so that each team like ran each of their drivers like kind of an equal amount. Otherwise, yeah, you could have had a situation where if there was a driver who was like, subbed in, then they would only run like 6 laps or something like that, and then the other drivers run much more. Which kind of defeats the purpose of what Manu Series is about, I suppose, being kind of.
Yeah, I figured they would. I figured they would have made it a minimum 14 laps per driver either way, but they really clamped down on any potential 3-stop strategy too.
Okay, that's interesting to know. So yeah, we will go on to Nations now. So doing the double, Killian Drummond holding off Igor Fraga, who came at him like a rabid pit bull on a 5-year-old child to paint a dangerous picture, until of course Fraga's tires went off towards the end and he fell back into the clutches of Kokibon and Baptiste. But yeah, incredible drive under incredible amount of pressure from Killian to take out the double. Fraga, of course, coming second, may have won the race if he didn't end up with that. I think it was a 2-second penalty, which obviously conflates out to about 3.5 seconds worth of time loss. So although the gap was 7.6, I believe that if Fraga didn't serve the penalty, he would have come out ahead of Killian and probably had some time to be more conservative on his tires than what he was in the end.
It was a fuel issue.
Fuel issue? I thought they had pretty much the same amount of fuel, although obviously
he was out. He needed to go mix 6 for the last lap or two, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I did see at one point, unless the on-screen graphics are wrong, I thought that maybe Fraga did run out of fuel, but then they showed the graphics and he only had like 1% less than what Killian had. But maybe it was just that Killian had been driving with a more conservative fuel-saving approach the whole race, whereas Fraga had been going all out, and then when he had to switch to fuel-saving, he just didn't quite have the pace as what Killian had.
As far as I remember, it was about a 3% difference, but they were only on ×2 fuel, so that was a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Kokibon obviously coming in third, Baptiste in fourth, and fifth, Jose Serrano, followed by obviously the rest of the field. McEwen down here in last place. He did actually look fairly competitive earlier in the race, but as it turned out, he was just using so much more fuel than everyone else. Danny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sorry. To be honest, I didn't watch Nations too much, but yeah, I think but I did know some points from this race. Yeah, McEwen did use a lot of fuel, so yeah, he did spend like the most amount of time in the pits. But I think his pace, when he was alone, I think it was pretty okay. I only have more knowledge of what happened in the front, like in the towards the closing stages. Kokoban saving his tires more so he could attack Fraga in the last lap. I think it was a pretty close battle between those two, but Fraga just took the correct lines on the critical moments and just held on. Killian once again with a very very dominant drive. He won from about the mid pack pretty much, and I know how good Killian is in Trial Mountain. He has. I think he's like the fastest driver in Trial Mountain in the game. So he knew his way around this track. So and it's very very impressive given that it's his first World Tour and he dominated everything. He made Gran Turismo history by being the first person to win both series on his debut season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, debut World Tour appearance. Sorry, not debut season.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if he can duplicate this performance in Monaco at the end of the year. It's going to be exciting to watch to see which of these legends comes out on top in Monaco.
Yes.
Alrighty, so I think that's obviously enough focusing on the past. Let's kind of take a look towards the future. And so, Nations Cup, we're already 2 rounds into this, and familiar names at the top of the Oceania standings, with Andrew Lee currently leading, Guy Barber in second. Interesting to see that Matt Simmons, aka Mint Matt, and Emery are both throwing the hat into the ring this season, it looks like. Konzio in 5th, he was obviously challenging for the slot last season. Sidog, Adam, Speedy Tires in 8th, and 9th place Holland, 10th place Rulstone, aka Foss. Kind of looking back even further than that, it's very tight. I mean, look, McEwen is all the way down here, only in 13th right now. That's kind of amazing to think. Nations Cup for Oceania is just getting a lot more competitive.
Yeah, I wish I could have been a lot higher up. I would have been just behind where Tezza is if I didn't lose the place to him. And also that round was when I needed to score points in because Deep Forest was a complete no go for me.
Yeah, with the tire wear, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I just want to touch on that. Why aren't you doing this season on the wheel?
Too slow.
Too slow?
You saw how slow I was.
Yeah, but I mean, surely you can, if you put your mind to it, you will get better at it.
Yeah, I just need the big off season after the end of season 2 to practice rather than the short notice I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that once you get up to speed with it, you'll probably be even quicker than what you are on controller, at least on some combos. So just quickly checking in on the chat again. So Pedro Silva says the Subaru BRZ is amazing on tires, fuel, and brakes, just on another level. Yes, absolutely. Jokin says, can we show some real driver points, not just the aliens? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I will bring up the standings here as we go a little bit further down. Let's take a look. You guys can see this right now. Let me just check on the stream. Yep. So kind of going back further, we got Captain Muffin making his kind of debut. He was obviously a very good driver in GT Sport and now coming back into GT7. I believe Kay Hargreaves is Kizza, a former World Tour qualifier driver. Rain, we got OGR Darren being the first of the OGR boys. He's always there in top split.
That feel when Darren is ahead of me in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, 263, that has to be Darren's highest ever score. I don't know. Maybe he dropped down to second split, and that's why. Because, yeah, obviously, it's unfortunate for Darren. He seems to always just be in the back there of top split, whereas I think if he was in second split more often, he would, do quite well. Fluffy, no idea who that is. Smokescreen down in 19th. I mean, that goes to show how competitive things are. Smoke is only in 19th place. Our beloved Naked Blade, Maxi, in 23rd. J Law, which is Banana Josh, right? Another one of the pad guys.
Yeah, J Law is Banana Josh.
We got Stankovsky. OGR Slippy. Let's see, who's the first of someone in the chat? We got Wogopolis here, 247 as his highest score so far, and Jester, 245. So well done, Jester. Is that your highest score ever, Jester? I mean, that was for a win in Deep Forest, right? If you're there. And yep, Banana Jaw confirming that he's J Law. Jester says rude AF. What for? You smashed third split, yeah. Will high speed ring points count? We will get to that, Pedro. It's coming up. I know you guys all probably want to have your say about the wall riding, but we got to tease it out a little bit. But yeah, before we get to that, let's just seeing as though we have Danny on, I thought I would also show the Nation Cups Asia standings. So CRV currently leading 404, Miyazano in second on 390. We've got Danny's fierce rival Jonathan Wong in third. S Izuri. Who's that one, Danny?
That's Arrow.
Who?
Arrow 71 SR.
Yep. I know who you mean. Yep. Okay. Takari fifth. Japanese letters in the next three places. I'm not sure which ones they are.
Okay, I've forgotten. Sorry.
You've forgotten, no problems. Bo in ninth, aka Chris Rock, and Danny bringing it in for 10th at the moment. So unfortunate round for you at Deep Forest. Obviously, you were taken out by Rafael, right?
Taken out by Rafael in slot 2, taken out by Tokari in slot 3.
Yeah, I think I mean, have you and Rafael had any run-ins in the past? Like, why did he do that? That was really poor driving standards from him, I think. I don't know if you guys have had
Yeah,
any issues before.
he has hated my guts since last year. Maybe because, I don't know. Maybe because I caused him to get a DI reset, and as Special says, not X almost 2 years ago, but it wasn't even my fault. It was a bug. We were bum drafting the time. It's a long story. I made him get a DI reset, and he hated my guts ever since.
You made him get a
Back in
DR
GG.
reset. What the fuck?
So yeah, that's besides the point. So thank you for setting up Acer once again. So you skipped a few drivers. P7 is Wemir Scarlet. P8 Takuan. Yeah, Chris Rock there. Your McLaren teammate. Pretty fast lad. So the first two rounds were pretty okay. Round one being the round one for Acer. It was a little quiet. Not many people did this round, but I think me and Saika were matching each other for pace this round, and we got pretty okay points. But then round two, I think it was when everyone decided to do this round, and I was really struggling for race pace, and I think I just struggled overall this round. I felt I had the pace, but everyone was too close to each other, so I couldn't extract more out of myself. Like I was almost hitting a wall, which was hard to break. So every quali session, I mean, I could have easily qualified like top 3 in like all the slots, all the top split slots. But I think just being in a Discord BC doing critical moments is not good for you. So
yeah, it's probably better for you to just maybe like stay out of the Discord chats, especially when Chopper's racing, because I don't know, like obviously Chopper, he likes to troll you a bit and he'll say like, oh, Danny killed someone and stuff. I think it doesn't...
Discord drama recently. That is another thread that we can touch on where when we get to the wall riding.
Yeah, so basically, I learned a big lesson from that. And you can see 2T4 because I was in drop split because of that slot. So the last two slots I was in drop split, just trying to review my SR, and shifting the focus on the winners of this round. Yeah, Saika, no practice. He got 3-1. He maximized my struggles to get his PB of the season so far. CRV with the 400 pointer. Great job from him here. He's always fast in deep forest, so no surprise to see him winning. Big surprise was uh, Wimmer Scarlett, the guy in P7, with the mid 300. Arrow also scoring same points at Saika, and you can see Chris Rock, S Ben all getting pretty pretty good points in the later slot. So they had great pace as well. So congrats to them. Moving forward, for the rounds like round three, high downforce, Super Formula and Spa. I think the field will be slightly more spread out, given that the Super Formula is a bit hard to drive and it's going to be a TGR round one, albeit with slightly different settings. So I think it'll be quite exciting. I can redeem myself from a very bad Nason's round in Deep Forest and try and claim back some points.
Yeah, this upcoming nations round, I think, is if there's sort of an apology for what happened in Toyota round one. Let's do the race again, but the way we actually should have done it all along. Yeah, you've been slow rolling them, but we do have to get to it at some point.
Oh my god.
Hey, Matt, where the chat is blowing up, it's been several minutes and you haven't been.
I just noticed that. Yeah, I had my mic on mute. So sorry about that. All right. Well, I don't want to repeat myself, so I'll let you guys start with it. Jay, Danny, what's your opinion on wall riding? I guess we'll start with you, Danny, because you seem to be getting the blame for it, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know because I've been now I like to explain how the timeline of events occurred. So when it started when the time trial first opened, I was doing the taking turn two normally, knowing that I had like a top five car for this combo, and then I got onto a 14.8, which was pretty decent for no wall riding. And then I saw a V1 Siki, also known as Icy Tail. He did a 40.6 in a car which is not even meant to do a 40 because it had like 5 kilometers an hour slower top speed on the straights than the GTR. So then I remembered that Polyphony has disabled wall contact penalties for all the GTWS races. So I just took turn 2 flat, wall rided it, and I still got a 13.9. No, like on a single lap Shootout. And of course, I hit my replay just to make people guess whether I wall rided or not, but it was already too obvious. And then the EMEA guys started to blame me because when their time trial opened, they saw my name on the top. Hence why I was getting, shit thrown at me.
Mm-hmm.
When the Japanese guys have already discovered it first.
And
And
that
I think I saw, like, even before the time slot opened, there Trust had like high speeding lobbies, so they probably knew about this too. So that's why they were probably trying to perfect the wall riding technique on their own. So it was they you so this information was already known. It was not publicized until EMEA time trial opened.
and Danny getting fingered for the whole incident said that gives me a good chance to segue into what I had to say about this. Honestly, I've got no respect for EMEA even anymore, even though they fear that they think they drive cleaner, but they only did it to spite us. Honestly, like, well, what's my train of thought here? How about you let us deal with Danny's questionable driving standards and actually worry about what's going on in your own region, Europe?
So yeah, I mean, I think there is a little bit to that. So basically, Key, I guess, was the most prominent figure with coming out. I mean, in terms of like the streamer community of coming out and being against wall riding. And I think kind of once he did it, that put a lot of pressure on a lot of other people to do the same thing. And then, of course, Baptiste also made the tweet saying he doesn't drive Gran Turismo to hug barriers, and that he wasn't going to do it, and that everyone else shouldn't do it. Now, the top split community in EMEA is very close knit. They all kind of communicate and talk of each other on a much more fraternal level than what we do in Asia, because obviously we have kind of the Japanese faction, and then we also have like the other Asian factions, and then we have the Oceania faction, and I think we're much more fragmented in that case. And so the kind of gentleman's agreement not to do it isn't going to necessarily work in our region. And
Yeah,
my own kind of thoughts about it, I know you guys already heard this, but basically we're racing drivers, and it's our job to get around the track as quickly as possible within the rules of the formula or within the rules of the game in the case of sim racing. Now, iRacing had a very similar thing happen on the weekends, and iRacing is a much more serious game than Gran Turismo, where people were driving around on the grass all lap to cool down their tires in order to do a hot lap in qualifying. Now,
And that was a few weekends ago now, but still valid.
yeah, sorry, I thought it only just happened. Okay, yeah, fair enough. A few weekends ago. So while I can absolutely see people, I mean, Jokin says, no, it was Lounsey said on the chat, I think that he doesn't respect anyone who did it. Jokin said he did do it. Wagopolis says wall riding is the devil. I can absolutely understand if you don't want to do it yourself and if you think it's dirty. It is dirty, absolutely. But in the same way that maybe you don't want to use the meta car, which is a second a lap quicker than everything else because you want to drive your favorite car, then that's your choice and you can do that. And if you do well, then my respect is for you. But at the same time, I don't think you should criticize other drivers for just doing what they can to get around the track as quick as possible. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and to quote what, if it's okay to quote what Barton said in Discord yesterday, let's summarize. Asia region accepts that they'll wall ride because it's an advantage. Asia region finishes with no one really complaining about the results. EMEA, at least in top split, doesn't do it. EMEA complains about the results.
yes, and it's because EMEA looks at us Asians war riding, and then EMEA starts to criticize us, bash us, threaten us of bans, and calls us names. And I don't know, we got a lot of abuse. Us Asians, Japanese, non-Japanese, Australians, New Zealanders, whoever, all of us from the Asia region, we got thrown abuse from the EMEA community just because we did we war rided legally. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in here. Where was it? No, I can't. I saw a good comment in the chat about it. Yeah, so Loungy says...
just as also posted my article on Race Department.
Yeah, you did have a good recap of what happened. But Lousy says if this combo was at World Final, I don't think it would happen. Now, absolutely. At the World Final, they take it, I guess, a lot more seriously in terms of like the simulation aspect of it. So, for example, at the World Series, and I don't know if this was like something that they particularly like stressed to you in like a driver's briefing or something, Jay, so you might be able to answer on this, but I do believe that you're not allowed to bump draft in the World Series even. Is that correct?
That is correct. There was actually a warning against a player when they started getting cheeky in the Americas region final.
Yeah, so essentially it's like, well, bump drafting is something that doesn't really happen in real life racing, only in NASCAR, and it's a much lesser effect than in GT. But people do it in GT because it's an advantage. So again, I can see that there's different levels. Wall riding is definitely much worse than bump drafting. But then you can look back to other things, like there was the PP glitch at what was it, Brands Hatch rounds of Nations Cup. Yeah, it was a test season, but okay. TGR, we had the overtaking glitch. So people are willing to use glitches sometimes. I can see that, yes, they might draw the line at wall riding, but if you're going to complain as much as you did about it, like the people who have complained, the people who are calling for the round results to be completely scrapped, then I think it's a little bit hypocritical when you're willing to use one glitch, but then say another glitch is so bad that the entire result should be scrapped, even if in your region or in your split you didn't do it. So for me, I think it's a little bit hypocritical of the EMEA guys, and it's a little bit... This is what Europe is like. Europeans are always kind of like, oh, we're a little bit better than everyone else. And that's not just in sim racing, that's just in life, right? I mean, Europeans obviously have high...
So snobby attitude because they don't like that sometimes a weaker driver from the other two region qualifies for the World Series.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for the most part, the most vocal people about this are kind of like generally younger people, other than Key. And they just like to complain about everything anyway. So just so that we're not just completely rambling on, let's check in with what the chat says. So Jokin says bump drafting is rubbin and rubbin is racing. Lounge Room Racer said they tried to ban bump draft in proper karting, impossible. Vision says, hey Meta, hey Vision, how's it going? Lounsey says he didn't use the ticket glitch either, so Lounsey, obviously the shining beacon of humanity. Jester says, I think they're just taking the piss because they're already better. Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, EMEA is a better region than our region, but they're also a much larger region, so it makes sense that they generally will have quicker drivers because there's just such a bigger population to draw from. Jokin says bumping in karting was great fun. I mean, how much does it really happen in karting? Lounge Room Racer says he didn't rub you, he bumped you, and bumping is racing, son. Fair enough. Jester has very strong opinions on it, that it's cheating. So I don't know. I mean, Jester, do you think that, let's say, I posted this clip on Twitter where in IndyCar at the circuit of the Americas, they were just like running about 20 meters off track at the last corner because they decided the track limits wasn't a thing there. Like, is that cheating, or is it just the drivers using what the rules allow them to do? I mean, I don't think there is actually a rule in Gran Turismo that says you can't hit a barrier.
If it was cheating, we would get penalized for it. I hit the barrier a couple of times too hard in slot 1 and got penalized for it. I didn't cry about it. I just regrouped and did slot 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. Like, it wasn't a case of just being able to full throttle around the barrier like it was earlier. They did patch it to at least make it that you would get the penalty if you stay too long on the wall. So in a way, it was like a little bit skill-based. And I know the EMEA guys absolutely wanted to hang me for saying that wall riding can't be skill-based. Well, no, it was, because if you did it wrong, you got the penalty.
Yeah, they just don't like Trackmania style racing.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, moving on, I guess. Do you guys think that PD will invalidate the results of round two?
No, I personally don't think they will invalidate round two is because one, it already happened. Two, the points have already been registered like days ago. So, and apparently I heard, and this is true based on a screenshot from the GTWS World Tour server that to, Toyo has announced that they're going to do an investigation on the round two. But based on what I've seen, like on the Gran Turismo website, that they have already counted all the points of the round. They have finalized the points from all regions, yada yada, all that. My take on this is that they will just keep the round. It's because everyone has already done it, and there's no turning back. Basically, they cannot turn back on this one. If they wanted to turn back on this one, they should have probably deleted the round the day before, or like 2 days before, or something like that. You know, they could have deleted the round.
Yeah, I think it would be a real shame if they do delete it because, like, let's face it, this was a round where manufacturers like McLaren and Lamborghini they needed to score big points here to have any chance of qualifying. And to, for example, Consta, who was trying to qualify in EMEA, to take away this 40 points score for him is essentially going to disqualify McLaren from qualifying, which would be wrong, I think.
So I I still don't think anything is set in stone yet. It is very possible that they wait until the last minute and then delete it because you know what PD are like, last minute changes all the time. But nonetheless, at this point, I'm leaning towards them just saying, no, okay, not guilty and don't do it again because they kept Toyota Cup round one, and that was just as messed up a round as this one was.
Yeah, that's correct. With the overtaking glitch, it was probably worth even more time than the wall ride.
Not even the overtaking glitch. The penalties were a mess.
Were they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the penalties, there's the overtake glitch, which was the biggest game changer of the round because you could probably like gain up to 5 to 6 seconds of race time with that if you continuously use the overtake boost throughout the race.
Yeah, I think it was probably a pretty similar time game. So Holland's joining us. Hi,
And
Holland.
get
Justice says that.
yeah, and guess which vocal critic of the wallbang used the infinite overtake bug there back then?
All of them.
Yeah.
So
Key.
I
yeah,
wonder who.
Key.
Yeah, she.
I just want to touch on something Justice said in the chat that they dropped the rally round last year, but I believe that was a like database server issue. That wasn't because of any glitches or anything like not there was no like cheating in the round. It was just the points got lost essentially.
Yeah, that's way different. That was PD's data miscalculation.
Yeah, I believe that they basically in the code they basically just lost lost the points for that round and they couldn't get them back, so that's why the round had to be deleted. Sorry. Jokin says, "Here's one for you, Meta. Do you think each round should be kept hidden until the race, so 50 hours of practice can't happen?" I think that potentially the slots, like the combos, should be not announced so far ahead of time, but maybe like 1 or 2 hours before. But then, there's people who have jobs and they need to be able to practice too. And so maybe they need to know because they can only practice on a Tuesday night or something like that. So I'm split between the two. I think it would be very fun to have the combos like come up with only a short amount of practice. But I can
I don't like the idea. People need to be able to practice sufficiently so that we don't end up running into each other because our breaking points are so misaligned.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I'll agree with Jay because I as a guy who does GDWS for almost full time. I do need like some practice, if not a lot, some practice, so that I need to be at least familiar and comfortable with the combo, not hop on 1 or 2 hours before and rush it. then I won't feel confident. I need to you need to feel that confidence, and
Yeah,
then you're good.
different drivers, it would advantage different drivers. So it's like, look at it in F1, right? So Mick Schumacher, clearly not a driver who has a natural level of talent which allows him to get into a series and immediately excel. In every series he's done so far, it's taken him 2 seasons to really come into his own, and we're even seeing that in F1 now. He wasn't really that great in his first season. I mean, he beat Mazepin, but who wouldn't, right? And then against Magnussen, he was kind of getting spanked by Magnussen early in the year, and now he's starting to get accustomed to it. Yeah, take a driver like Max, and I think Max would jump into any combo and be quick very quickly. So there's drivers who are good with a lot of preparation, and there's drivers who are good with not a lot of preparation. And if you had combos which are completely random, just appeared when you entered them, it would advantage those drivers, it would disadvantage the other drivers. Currently, we have the advantage for drivers who can put in the time. So yeah, I think it would be a fun idea maybe to do it for like 1 or 2 rounds in the season. But I think for the most part, just logistically with people, yeah, they need to be able to know what they're getting into before they do it. Just otherwise, it could be a lot of chaos.
We do, to be fair, have a couple of shorter no notice rounds. Round 4 is only going to be available for a week beforehand.
Vision actually makes a good point that in real life you don't do practice races. That's true, although I think at least in Formula One, there's obviously a lot of simulator work that goes on.
Oh yeah, they'll go back to the simulator and do their practice races there before they even touch the track in real life.
Plus, they're much better drivers. I mean, we have to consider that there's there's more not top split drivers than there are top split drivers, and PD. Although essentially the World Series is for the top split drivers, for the enjoyment and the actual health of the game, it needs to be enjoyable for everyone.
Yeah, I've got nothing more to add after that.
Hmm.
Okie dokie. So I think pretty much. That's an old slide, actually. Pretty much, I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover anyway. I mean, in terms of how it can be fixed, it's quite simple. Like last corner of high speed ring, if you touch the wall, you get a penalty almost instantly. Clearly, it might be interesting. Okay. Clearly, PD have the tools to be able to fix this. It's just a matter of like, I guess, what level of severity they want to go down to balance the fun against the cheating, basically, like the exploits, basically. Because remember when we had like the Olympic qualifier at Tokyo, you just touched the wall a tiny little bit and your lap is invalidated. Now I think if you got a 1 or 1.5 second penalty for touching the wall that slight amount, more people were going to complain probably than what we had with the wall riding. So finding that balance between not enabling exploits and it's still actually being fun to like race and have a little bit of leeway as to you can battle and bump into a car and touch the barrier and not get penalized for it. It's very difficult. I understand the PD. They're faced with a very difficult task here to balance this.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, thanks for joining us today, Jay and Danny. If you guys have anything else you want to talk about, we can cover it quickly. But otherwise, yeah, I think we should probably wrap things up.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I think we have covered, pretty much everything, all the big talking points. And I just hope in the future, we Polyphony fixes this exploits and everything, so we won't, all the regions can, just get along. We don't want the Gran Turismo community to fight amongst one another when the game is having problems just because the developers did not develop it well.
Mm.
You know. It's just the all the regions, we all have to work together to find the solutions and work with polyphony to you know fix their game. We just want the stable, solid Gran Turismo, so that we can race properly.
So we do have actually an interesting question from here in the chat. Jokin says, "Here's another for the top split guys. What about random starting positions, no quali? I'm not the best qualifier, but I'm still not the fan of that. I still at least like a little bit of.
Then we go back to Gran Turismo 6 quick match.
Oh, was that a thing? Was it? People also discussing reverse grids. Someone says one lap shootout. I think it was Jessa. Yeah, says one lap shootout. I actually would like to see one lap shootout qualies. That could be interesting.
We had near enough that in the Road to GT7 series, right? We had 5 minutes to set a lap.
Yes, we had that. I mean, all the qualifyings in towards the end of Gran Turismo Sport were like 5 minutes. So you're almost one lap shootouts anyway. So it's unless you get a second lap. But for the most part, it's like your first lap is like everyone pushes in the first lap.
Yeah, I think the thing with the one lap shootout would add a little bit of that like chaos randomness when the top drivers fuck up, right? So you could have a McEwen fuck his qualifying lap up and be starting from 12th, and then he has to come back through the field. So it still allows you, it's still skill based that the best drivers are still most of the time going to qualify at the front, but I think it would add a little bit of an interesting twist to the races. I mean, certainly, probably we're all a little bit sick of like Andrew running off and just winning by 4 seconds, 5 seconds from the front.
Something interesting for them to consider for next year than that going back to 5-minute qualifying instead of 10, because I think that's the best you can do. And it would also allow them to squeeze in longer races like the Nürburgring race that was round 1 of season 1 without bleeding over into the next time slot. Because I did slot 1 and then I had to wait to slot 3 to do a race again that time.
Yeah, that's because they fucked up with the time remaining for qualifying. So everyone had completed their lap and we all just had to sit there for like 8 minutes while the timer ran down.
Yeah, that sucked too.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I actually do have to go now, so thanks for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties and starting late. Thanks for jumping in, Jay, to be able to join us, because James has seemingly gone missing. Maybe he got abducted and is finally going to become an alien, because he has been on the up and up.
Yeah, I really wanted to jump in the first place. I just didn't know if I would be invited.
No, man, you're always welcome. All right, guys. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hit subscribe if you're only coming to the channel now to see this video. I'm sure there's some EMEA guys who might listen to this, even if they hate watching. Yeah, hit the like button. Maybe consider subscribing if you want to come hate watch again next week. That's if we will do it next week. So yeah, bye for now.
Yeah, hate watching is still views.
Indeed. All right, bye.
All right, have a good time.
Nice. Well, that was